Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for coming to this Hōonkō O-Taiya service. O-Taiya is like Christmas Eve, Hōonkō Eve. Actually, in Japan, they observe Hōonkō 7 days. But here in the United States, we observe 2 days. So today and tomorrow, we are going to have Hōonkō service at North America Honganji Hondo. So this is very, very meaningful for me because my term as bishop coming to the end, this is my last Hōonkō service. As I was chanting in front of the statue of Amida Buddha, I became a little bit emotional. I am very grateful for the BCA to be here. Actually, BCA existed for me. BCA really nurtured me. So I am happy to be here, grateful to be here. This service is not being observed for someone else, but I felt it's for me alone. So I am very, very fortunate to be able to encounter Shinran Shonin's teaching. So I would like to ask you, each of you, to spend some time and deepen your appreciation of Shinran Shonin's teaching by listening to our guest speaker today. Okay, thank you very much for coming.
Good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Masanori Watanabe. I'm the minister of Oxnard Buddhist Church, a Buddhist temple. Thank you very much for attending BCA's most important annual special service, Hōonkō Eve. I am very grateful to the bishop and BCA for allowing me to share Jodo Shinshu teachings at this very special occasion. As a BCA minister, this opportunity to address you is my greatest honor. It is also very special to me that today is the exact date 60 years ago when I started my ministry at the Oxnard Buddhist Temple. The history of the BCA started in San Francisco, 1898. For more than 120 years, Shinran Shonin's teachings have spread throughout the U.S. I would like to begin my Dharma message with a reading of a passage, so please join me in Gassho. How joyous I am, my heart and mind, being rooted in the Buddha ground of the universal vow, and my thoughts and feelings flowing within the Dharma ocean, which is beyond comprehension. I am deeply aware of Tathagata's immense compassion, and I sincerely revere the benevolent care behind the Master's teaching activity. These are the words of Shinran Shonin from Kyōgyō Shinsho, the true teaching, practice, and realization of the Pure Land Way. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Hōonkō is Shinran Shonin's memorial service. We pay our respect and gratitude to him at this special service. Thanks to Shinran Shonin's 90 years of life and his tremendous efforts to spread the Jodo Shinshu teachings, we can now listen to the teachings. Today, I would like to start with a little story about Steve Jobs, one of the founders of Apple Computer. I like Steve Jobs. His speech at Stanford University's graduation is now very famous. Have you ever watched it? No? Okay. In his speech, he said, "When I was 17, I read a quote that went something like, 'If you live each day as if it was your last, someday you'll most certainly be right.'" He also said, "No one wants to die. Even people who want to go to heaven don't want to die to get there. And yet, death is the destination we all share. No one has ever escaped it. And that is as it should be, because death is very likely the single best invention of life. This is the mirror to reflect upon the true value of our lives." As you may know, Steve Jobs had a serious cancer, pancreatic cancer. I did too. We had the same cancer. Through the experience, I now more deeply understand that life is impermanent. I think Steve Jobs knew about impermanence too. I believe this understanding helps Buddha's teachings permeate through me. And Steve Jobs seems to have spread a little of Buddha's teachings too. As the three treasures say, how rare and wondrous it is to be born into human life. The most important thing is we are here at this temple today to listen to the wondrous Dharma, especially Jodo Shinshu, the Pure Land Path. Thus, I am very happy to have this great opportunity to speak about Shinran Shonin, who propagated the venerable teaching through today's special occasion. Every year, I go back to Japan in November to help my family's temple's Hōonkō. The temple is located on top of a mountain in Hiroshima. So it is a very rural area. I usually give a Dharma message for the temple's Hōonkō. We have a very small sangha with about 20 sustaining members. 20. However, this year about 40 people gathered at the service, many more than normal. I noticed some young attendees. I was very happy that they looked hungry for the Jodo Shinshu teachings. I think they were pleased with my service and it helped satisfy their appetite. Today, I am very fortunate and honored to have this opportunity to share Shinran Shonin's teachings at the BCS Hōonkō service. Shinran Shonin passed away in 1263, over 750 years ago. At the young age of 9, he began studying and practicing Buddhism for 20 years at Mount Hiei. However, he could not find his peace there. Rather, he only found deeper anxieties and sufferings. Shinran Shonin heard a great deal about a great master named Honen, and so he journeyed down the mountain and visited him. Master Honen was once a great Tendai monk, but he abandoned his status and spread the Pure Land path. In other words, the teaching of Namo Amida Butsu to common people. Shinran could not understand Honen's teachings very well at the beginning. I think Shinran Shonin was very curious as well as skeptical about Honen Shonin's teachings. So Shinran Shonin visited him hundreds of times and asked many difficult questions. Honen's answers made sense to Shinran Shonin, and he became Honen Shonin's disciple. He had found peace thanks to Honen's great insight and guidance. Shinran made tremendous efforts to spread the teachings at the risk of his life, because these teachings, Nembutsu's teachings, were not authorized by the imperial court at that time. He was very courageous. Thanks to Shinran and many of his followers, we can listen to the wondrous teachings now. I think we are very fortunate that we could encounter Shinran Shonin's teachings in our lives. Life is not long. Rather, it is shorter than we think. An important point of Honen Shonin and Shinran Shonin's teachings is to realize the transiency of this world. There is nothing that is ours. Everything will leave us, even our lives at some time. That is why we should seriously consider what we think and do during our limited but very precious lives. When we fully understand this important lesson, our lives will drastically change. Everyone was born alone and will die alone. However, the Buddha's teachings make us realize that we are not alone. As long as we are mindful of the Buddha Dharma, it is always with us, whatever happens. The historical Buddha expressed in the larger sutra that the Buddha Dharma is like a true friend. As a proverb says, good friends are hard to find. Good friends are hard to find. There is a huge difference between just a friend and a good or true friend. The historical Buddha said in the larger sutra that the Buddha's wisdom thus has no bound, and it is pure to the utmost. Hard it is to obtain human life, and difficult it is to encounter a Buddha in this world. Even more difficult it is for one to attain faith and wisdom. Once you have heard the Dharma, endeavor to seek the way. The one who hears and never forgets the Dharma, sees and reveres it, and greatly rejoices in attaining it. That person is my true friend. Therefore, awaken aspiration for enlightenment, even if the whole world were filled with fire. Resolutely pass through it in your quest to hear the Dharma. As the Buddha said, for one who hears the Dharma and never forgets and rejoices in it, the Buddha will be a true good friend. A true good friend will be there for you when you need them, no matter what happens. When times are difficult, we can easily understand who our true friends really are. They will be the ones who offer their support when we really need it. It is very fortunate to have these kinds of friends in our lives. They are quite rare. However, we have already met our true friends in Buddha's teachings. Therefore, the description of the three treasures is true. Through my illness, I now deeply understand the preciousness of encountering the Buddha Dharma, and especially the Nembutsu teaching in my earthly life. I'd like to share a famous Buddhist story from Mahaparinirvana Sutra. Once, a beautiful and well-dressed woman visited a house. The master of the house asked her, "Who are you?" She replied, "I am the goddess of wealth." The master of the house was delighted and so treated her nicely. Soon after, another woman appeared who was ugly-looking and poorly dressed. The master of the house asked her who she was. "I am the goddess of poverty." The master was frightened and tried to drive her out of the house. The goddess of poverty refused to depart, saying, "The goddess of wealth is my sister. There is an agreement between us that we are never to live separately. If you chase me out, she's to go with me." Sure enough, as soon as the ugly woman went out, the other woman disappeared. Birth goes with death. Fortune goes with misfortune. Bad things follow good things. People should realize this. Foolish people dread misfortune and strive after good fortune. But those who seek enlightenment must transcend both of them and be free of worldly attachments. Nobody is always happy or unhappy, always unhappy. Life is like a bumpy road. As long as we live, fortune and misfortune are always following us, like the two sides of a coin. The important point of Buddhism is to know our realities and how to deal with them and find our true joy and calmness, called enlightenment. For this, what should we specifically do? As the historical Buddha taught, keep your mind from greed and you will keep your behavior right, your mind pure and your words trustworthy. By transcendency of your life, you will be able to resist greed and anger and will be able to avoid all evils. In fact, following this teaching is very difficult for us. Why is it so difficult? Because we do not understand ourselves well. In company management, if a manager knows the company's problems well, he or she may be able to find solutions to them little by little, one by one. However, many companies go bankrupt when the manager and employees do not know what the true problems are. When the Buddha was alive, many people became his disciples, and they strived to learn how to deal with their own sufferings that are founded on their base passions and worldly desires. Thanks to Buddha's guidance, many people were released from their delusive minds and obtained the right views. However, we should not forget that they sacrificed everything to find their true comfort and calmness. In this fast-paced society, do you have the confidence that you can do as they did during your limited life? Can you sacrifice everything for nirvana? If I was asked this question, I would answer that I do not have the confidence. Then, what can we do? To find the solution, I believe you are here at this service. Death will come to everyone, usually before they are ready for it. That is life. When you are here, I would like you to seriously consider how you should live according to Buddha's wise teachings and Shinran Shonin's great insight. Through following Shinran Shonin's guidance, our everyday lives would become fully meaningful. The historical Buddha said that this world is like a mountain of treasures for enlightenment. However, if we cannot recognize these treasures, everything is transient and of no avail. We are very fortunate to have this temple, and as long as this temple exists, you can listen to the Buddha's teachings here. You can find the treasures here. Shinran Shonin's great compassion was to spread the wondrous Buddha's teachings to many people, including each of us. Namo Amida Butsu is the symbol of our enlightenment, and it also means thank you to our indebtedness to all Buddhas, including Shinran Shonin. Therefore, let us be thankful for his efforts to share the wonderful Dharma with us through today's special occasion. Please join me in Gassho. I know nothing at all of good or evil, for if I could know thoroughly, as Amida Tathagata knows, that an act was good, then I would know good. If I could know thoroughly, as the Tathagata knows, that an act was evil, then I would know evil. But with a foolish being, full of blind passions, in this fleeting world, this burning house, all matters without exception are empty and false, totally without truth and sincerity. The Nembutsu alone is true and real. These are the words of Shinran Shonin from Tan Nisho, a record in Lament of Divergences. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. So again, I would like to thank all of you for allowing me to speak at this special occasion. Happy holidays and have a wonderful 2020.